I'm Cath. Welcome to my channel made by Cath Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me today for my latest video. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 outfits that I made using free sewing patterns. And I made these 3 outfits as part of the Sew Frugal challenge that's been running this last month on Instagram and YouTube. It's a really fun challenge, and I'm going to talk in this video just a brief overview of the rules of the challenge. In case you're unfamiliar with it, you probably have heard of it, but just in case. And I'm also going to be sharing my 3 outfits, which free patterns I used and how I hacked them a little bit to turn them into the outfits I've got. So I had a lot of fun making them. But first of all, I'll start the video as usual with what I'm wearing today. Today is quite an overcast day. I'm actually filming this video a day before the Sew Frugal reveal date, just because it happened to work best in terms of when I had the time to do it. So I haven't seen everyone's outfits and everything, but it's quite an overcast Wednesday today. And I've got on a dress. I think I'm being a bit optimistic. I might have to put a cardigan on a bit because it's a bit of a chill in the air today. But the dress I've got on is this pattern here. It is the Fleetwood dress pattern by French Navy, and I'm a big fan of French Navy patterns. One of their patterns actually was one of the free patterns I talked about in my Sew Frugal plans video. They're Stellanti, which is a nice jersey t-shirt pattern. But this is a woven dress pattern, the French Fleetwood dress. I've only made one version, which is the one I'm wearing, but whenever I wear it, I think I should make another one. But I'll show you the line drawings. Here are the line drawings. There are 2 variations on this dress, but both of them have this sort of panelled bodice with a yoke at the front and back, and a little bit of gathering at the back, which is a nice detail. And they have sort of 3/4 length sleeves with a little sleeve cuff and button on, which I quite like. They've got a round neck, a button down front and a gathered skirt. And the version A has a bodice that kind of sits just below your natural waist, and then a 2-tier skirt. And then view B has a slightly lower waist, almost like a flapper style waist, and just a 1-tier skirt. But I think it's a really nice shirt dress with some interesting details, and one I really enjoyed sewing because I like French Navy instructions. In terms of the sizing on it, it doesn't have the biggest size range ever. It goes from a size A to an H, and the largest size is for a bust 42.5 inches. And I think I graded between the size A and B based on my measurements on this one, and I did tweak the pattern a little bit. But yeah, I really like how it's turned out actually, and I made it in this cute chambray fabric, which I think it was called Love in Paris. I bought it quite a while ago, and it sat in my stash for quite a while before I sort of summoned up the courage to cut into it. But I really like the idea of turning it into a shirt dress. So yeah, it's got lots of little sort of Parisian sort of things on it. I think it's got Eiffel Towers somewhere or other. Oh, there's one. It's got little hearts, little sort of Breton striped tops, and then I accessorised it with these pink buttons which kind of tie in with the heart colour. And I'll put a picture up of me wearing it so you can see what it looks like on. It's quite a nice, comfy, relaxed shirt dress, but that is what I'm wearing today. So now I'll move on to talking about the Sew Frugal challenge. So the Sew Frugal 22 challenge was quite a simple one. There were just 4 rules, which I'm going to pop up here. And the first rule was you had to sew a garment using a free pattern that's readily available to everybody. Then you had to sew it up using a fabric from your stash, so you couldn't buy anything new for this challenge. Then you had to sew it up in the month of March, and finally reveal your garment on the 31st of March on Instagram using the hashtag SewFrugal22. So yeah, just 4 fairly simple rules, and I love that it's quite an accessible challenge because the pattern's free, you're using something you already have. I guess the only costs are maybe a bit of printing of the pattern and some notions. But yeah, it's a really exciting challenge, and for me it was extra tough this year because I didn't have a lot of fabrics in my stash anyway. But when I had a look through my stash, I had plans pretty much for all of those fabrics, so I had to think a bit creatively. So I decided, and you'll know this if you saw my plans video, to make my Sew Frugal garments entirely out of remnants I had left over from other projects. So I had a good old rummage through my fabric remnants left over and found some decent sized ones and had a little think about how I could make them work. So it's quite a fun challenge actually, and it really got my brain thinking about how I could make the challenge work with my extra criteria that I'd kind of created for myself. So as I mentioned before, I made 3 outfits. I made 2 outfits for myself and 1 for my daughter, and for each outfit I used a different free pattern. Off one of them I used 2 free patterns. So I'm going to talk through each of those garments now. The first outfit I made using a free sewing pattern is a dress for my daughter who's 6 years old. And I made this in jersey fabric. When I had a look through my stash of sort of fabric remnants, I found I had quite a few remnants of cotton jersey, but not a lot of them were big enough to make a whole dress. So I had the idea of mixing and matching a couple of different cotton jersey fabrics to make sort of a colour block dress with different fabrics that complemented each other. And I thought that would be quite a lot of fun. So I decided to do that for my daughter, and that's what I made for her. and she really likes a jersey dress. She finds them really comfy, so I knew it was something that she would wear and enjoy wearing, so I wanted to make sure for this challenge I did make things that were definitely going to get worn. So I made her a little dress, and I hacked a free t-shirt pattern to turn it into a dress for her, and the pattern I used is this one here. It is the Kids ABBT by DIBY Club. And I'll link this pattern down below in the DIBY Club website. It's quite easy to download, and it's quite a nice simple little t-shirt pattern with a round neck. You can add an optional patch pocket. There's either a slim or regular fit, and I think it comes in an age range of 18 months to 12 years, so quite a good age range on it. And I made it a couple of times before just as a t-shirt, both for my son and daughter, and I quite liked how it came together and the fit of it, so I thought it'd be a nice one to try hacking. So yeah, I decided to choose two fabrics that I thought would be quite fun together for a colour block dress for my daughter, and here is the little dress I made her. So you can see here, I cropped off the t-shirt just around, I guess maybe above her waist, and then added on little gathered skirt on it and little patch pocket too. And I chose this rainbow cotton jersey fabric for the main body, which I'd originally made into a Agnes top for me, so I guess we could kind of twin actually, because I got that rainbow coloured top when she wore this dress. And then skirt, I used this, for the skirt I used this Galaxy cotton jersey fabric that I'd made originally as a top for my mum. And it's really nice with this sort of pink flex, and I thought tied in quite nicely with the rainbow print, and add a little patch pocket on just for fun, but she does often like stashing something in her pocket, so I thought it might be quite useful too. So I'm really pleased with how it turned out. In terms of sizing, I made these age 6, which is her age, and I found it fits her quite nicely. I do think the fit of this is on the snug side, but I think for a little dress, that's quite nice that it's not too oversized. So yeah, it was a nice quick little sew and quite a lot of fun. It was nice to try hacking a free pattern to turn it into a dress for her. So that is my first garment I made for So Frugal. Oh, and I should mention, I did ask my daughter whether she'd like to pose for a couple of photographs, but she wasn't very keen. I didn't want to push it, so I haven't got any photos of her wearing it, but she has worn it and she's really pleased with it. And I think because it's quite small, I can hold it up so you can see the full effect of it anyway. It was quite a nice simple hack, and I'm really pleased with how that came together. And I thought I'd mention actually the DIBY Club also have a women's version of the ABBT2, and I mentioned that in my So Frugal Plans video, and a few people came back and said they tried it and it was a really nice t-shirt and came together really nicely and fit really nicely too. So I definitely am going to give that one a go at some point too. I'll link that one down below as well in case you're interested. It has a really good size range too. It goes from a 00, which is a bust of 31 inches, up to a size 36, which has a bust of 63 inches. So yeah, I definitely am going to try that one at some point. There's a few different variations, I think, in terms of the neckline and the arms. So I thought I'd mention that in case you're browsing the DIBY Club website. It's another great free pattern that you might want to consider downloading. So that is the colour block jersey dress I made for my daughter by hacking a free sewing pattern. And I also decided as part of this challenge to make a colour block jersey dress for me as well. And again, I hacked a free t-shirt pattern to turn it into a dress with a gathered skirt. I do love a jersey dress. I find them really comfy to wear, and particularly a dress with a gathered skirt, I quite like that style. And when I had a look in my fabric stash at the cotton jersey remnants, there are a couple of remnants that I thought would work really well together for a dress for me, so I decided to go for that too. And I did toy with the idea of using the ladies ABB t-shirts for my hack, but in the end I decided on another t-shirt pattern that I'd made before, just a t-shirt. I hadn't hacked it before, but I thought it would work really well as a hack. And the pattern is this one here. It is the Kirsten Kimono Tee pattern by Maria Denmark. And it's quite easy to get for free. I'll include a link to it down below, and you just have to sign up to the Maria Denmark newsletter. It's a really nice t-shirt pattern. It's made using just 2 pieces of fabric for the main t-shirt, because it's got grown on sleeves, just a front and a back piece, and it's got this boat neckline with a couple of different ways of finishing it. And it's got it's a fairly snug fit, but not super snug. And yeah, I just thought it would be really nice with that boat neck hacked into a sort of gathered skirt dress. So in terms of sizing, the Kirsten Kimono Tee goes from a size extra small up to a size extra large, and the largest size is designed for a bust of 50 inches. But the whole t-shirt comes together really nicely, and I find the instructions really good. So I cropped off the t-shirt and added on a gathered skirt, and I'll show you how my version turned out, because here it is. And I'm really pleased how it turned out, and I like how these colours kind of complement each other. For the t-shirt part of the dress, I used this lovely cotton jersey that's got this dragonfly geometric print on, and I originally made a Till in the Buttons Freya dress out of this jersey, and I always really enjoy wearing that, so it's nice to be able to squeeze something else out of that fabric. And then for the skirt bottom, I used this pretty royal blue coloured jersey, and I'd originally made a vest top out of this jersey using the Keeler tank pattern by Ali Olsen Patterns. But I was really pleased to combine them. I'm really pleased how they turned out. You can see there is a seam line down the back because I didn't have quite enough of this fabric to be able to cut the back on one piece, so I had to cut it in two pieces. Yeah, it's quite a small piece of fabric left over there. But I'll put a picture up so you can see how the back looks once it's on. I think it looks okay. I don't think it's too obvious there's a seam down there. It doesn't really matter because the fabric's quite busy. And in terms of adding the skirt on, I basically cut out two squares, and I made the squares 1.5 times wider than the width of the bodice pieces. I find I've done that on other patterns. I find it gives quite a nice fullness that's not really full, but enough gathers there to make a nice gathered skirt. And in terms of sizing, I use the extra small size, which is designed for a bust of 31.5 inches, a waist of 24.5 inches, and hips of 33.75 inches. And I'm bust 32, waist 26, hips 36. But the hip measurement wasn't relevant because I was going to crop this off at the waistline. And from my experience before of sewing this t-shirt, there's a bit more room around the waist area. So I decided to go on my bust measurement and then added seam allowances, of course. So in terms of where I cropped the pattern, I cropped the pattern at 2 centimetres above the waistline on the pattern, and it comes up sort of just above my natural waist, and I'm quite pleased with where it sits. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like on. I did actually adjust the neckline slightly. So the Kirsten Kimono Tee pattern has two different ways of finishing the neckline. You can either use a sort of jersey bias facing or a sort of neckband. And I'd used both those methods on t-shirts before. But for this one, I decided to borrow a neckline from another free pattern, which is the Mandy Boat Tee by Tessuti. And I really like that Mandy Boat Tee neckline because you don't actually add on a neckline in a separate piece of fabric. You turn over the fabric. You basically cut the front and back piece and then just turn over and top stitch with a twin needle. You can just about see twin needle there. So I had to just sort of trace that neckline onto this pattern to ensure it kind of came up with the same shape. But it was quite easy to do. And that's another free pattern I'll link down below. And I'm really happy with that. And I love the finish of the Mandy Boat Tee neckline. I think it's a really nice finish with that twin needle. So that's what I did for the neckline. So it had quite a similar shape to the Kirsten Kimono Boat Tee neckline, but just with a slightly different finish. And it meant I could just not have to worry about any other piece of fabric for neckline bindings or neckbands. I could just keep it as simple as possible with my limited amount of fabric I had. So while I was sewing this pattern, I did film a couple of little mini videos to include in this video, so you could see a little bit more about the construction of the bodice. So I'm just going to pop those videos in now, so hopefully you'll find those interesting, and then I'll see you again in a moment. So I thought I'd record this little video just while I'm altering the pattern pieces for the Maria Denbach Kirsten Kimono Tee to turn them from a t-shirt into the top part of a dress. And apologies if it's a bit shadowy, I'm filming this in the evening, so I've got the lights on. But so far I've printed out the two pattern pieces you need for this pattern, the front and back t-shirt pieces are fresh, so I can kind of start with them as a blank canvas. Unfortunately, I couldn't seem to find a layers function, at least not on my Adobe Acrobat PDF, so I had to print out all the different sizes, but I've gone for the smallest size based on my bust measurement. And then what I've done so far is, you can see this pink line, I have added in a seam allowance because the pattern doesn't include a seam allowance. I've got a 1 centimetre seam allowance on the side seam and also on the shoulder seam up there. I've drawn it in pink. And then on the sleeve seam here, I've added a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance like the pattern advises. And then at the bottom here, the pattern sort of starts to curve out towards your hips, but instead I've sort of adjusted the line to bring it straight down. And then I've got the waistline here on the pattern. I've taken the pattern piece down 2 centimetres below that. I'm not sure exactly where I want the waist to sit of this. I'm kind of thinking maybe just above my natural waist, so I might not need it to be that long, but I thought I'd add that length on from the waistline with a couple of centimetres to play with. And then once I've got the top part sewn up, I can see how it looks on me, and I can always trim it a bit if needed. So what I'm planning to do now is cut that pattern piece out, ready to then put it on the fabric and cut the fabric out. And I'm going to make the same adjustments, or I've started making the same adjustments to the back pattern piece too. And then I can start thinking about adding on some sort of skirt, turning it into a dress. So here is my Kirsten Kimono Tee dress hack in progress. I've got the bodice here, and I basically cropped it off shorter because I'm going to attach a skirt, and I sewed it up, and then I found the shape of the tee meant that it was a little bit loose at the waist, so I've just taken in the side seams a little bit to make it a little bit more fitted around my waist. And here's the front, and you can see the neckline coming down there, the sort of boat neckline. I'll turn it over so you can see the back too. There's the back with the centre seam, which yeah, it doesn't look too bad actually. So I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit more about the construction of the bodice of this dress in this video. I'm really happy with how this dress has turned out. I'll pop another picture in now so you can see it again. It's really comfy to wear and I really like this hack. I did consider adding some pockets to the skirt because I had just enough fabric to squeeze them in, but I decided against it because I wanted like a really streamlined silhouette, and I thought with the jersey fabric, if the pockets pulled or anything, it might spoil that. So I'm glad I didn't add pockets on this one, although I do like a pocket usually. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm glad I could squeeze at the top out of this fabric and have that centre seam at the back and it looking fine. And there was a fun little hack of, I guess, two free patterns, the Kirsten kimono tee with the Mandy boat tee neckline. So now I'll move on to sharing the third and final outfit I made using free sewing patterns for the Sew Frugal challenge. And I think this might be my favourite outfit of the three, just because I had a lot of fun with this one. I picked two different free sewing patterns and put them together, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. So if you've watched my Sew Frugal and plans video, you'll know that when I had a look through my fabric remnants, I found quite a few cotton jersey fabric remnants, which I then used to make the two colour block dresses I've already shared with you. But I also had a couple of really nice woven fabric remnants that I was quite inspired to sew with too. So I decided to use one of those for my final Sew Frugal garment. And it's this fabric here I decided to use. It's a really pretty viscose fabric that I got originally from Rainbow Fabrics. They do have a lot of pretty viscose fabrics on their website. But this one is lovely. It's got a black base and it's got these really lovely florals in really bright colours, oranges and yellows and pinks and reds. And I bought a decent amount of this fabric originally because it was a really good price. And I went on to make firstly a Scout tee by Grainline Studio for a charity challenge. And then I also made a wearable toile of the Wilder gown by Friday Pattern Co for me. But I still had a decent amount left, so I thought I could squeeze out something for Sew Frugal. And I'm really glad I decided to do that. So what I decided to do was make a faux playsuit using a free pattern for the camisole top and another free pattern for the shorts. I thought that would work really well and create a really flexible outfit because I could either wear just the top with a different pair of shorts or a skirt, or I could wear the shorts with another top, so I could mix and match or put them together to make a faux playsuit. So the pattern I decided to use for the top of my faux playsuit is this one here. So as I mentioned, I'm filming this video before the reveal date, but I think this is going to be a really popular one tomorrow. I think we're going to see a lot of these popping up on Instagram. It's this pattern here. It's the Etty Camisole by Tammy Handmade. It's quite a new free pattern. It's a really pretty one. It's quite a straight fit cami with these spaghetti straps, and the really pretty feature is this scalloped edge along the neckline. At the back it's just got a straight back. Yeah, but I really thought that was a really lovely pattern and one I really wanted to try, so I thought why not for Sew Frugal. In terms of sizing, it goes from a UK 6, which is a bust of 31 inches, up to a UK 24, which is a bust of 49 inches. And I made a size 8 based on my measurements. My measurements actually fell between the size 6 and the size 8, but the pattern includes finished garment measurements, and when I had a look, it looked like it came up on the snug size of the bust, so I decided to go for the size 8 rather than the size 6. And I found that was quite a nice fit actually on my bust. I did actually end up taking in the waist and from the waist down to the hips a bit because I found there was quite a lot of fabric there. It seems to sort of be a little bit billowy around there, and I wanted a little bit more of a straight fit, so I did take it in a bit there. But otherwise I found the fit really good, and it was a really fun top to sew actually. The only fiddly bit really was the scallops. You have to kind of spend a bit of time sort of turning them out and pressing them to give a nice effect, but I'll show you my top. So here is my Etty camisole, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. If I pull it back down slightly here, you can see the scalloped edge there. It is quite a subtle edge. It's almost like a wave, I think, on this fabric. So I think if I made this cami again, I might make the scallops a little bit more pronounced. It does say in the pattern you can consider doing that, but I quite like the sort of wavy, soft effect created for this fabric. I did make a couple of other adjustments, as well as taking the sides in slightly. I widened the straps a bit just to make them a little bit more bra friendly, because the straps on the pattern are quite spaghetti straps, and I wanted to be able to make them a bit wider so I could wear a bra underneath without it showing too much. That's just one adjustment I made. And then also in terms of the construction, the pattern is made using a facing on the inside. You can see there, the facing. Before I sewed the facing and the outer fabric together, I stay stitched along the neckline at the front and the back, just to make sure that when I sewed the facing and the fabric together, it didn't stretch out of shape. So I'm quite glad I did that, because the fabric is kind of a sort of slippery viscose fabric, and I wanted to make sure, yeah, there wasn't any gaping or stretching there. But yeah, I really love the cami top. I think it's a really pretty, cute little top. I think it would look great with a pair of jeans or some shorts or sort of swishy skirt. But I decided also, as I mentioned, to make a pair of shorts to go with it, so I did create a faux playsuit, which I really love too. So I'll show you the shorts I made now. So I thought it'd be really fun to make a pair of shorts in the same fabric as my Etty camisole, so I could pair them together and make a faux play suit. So I had to look around for different free patterns for shorts or trousers that I can maybe use for that purpose. And I decided to use the Walk the Plank pyjama bottoms pattern by Patterns for Pirates, because I was looking for something with an elasticated waist and a fairly loose fit that would make a kind of cute pair of shorts, and I thought that would fit the bill. So the Walk the Plank pyjama bottoms pattern is a free pattern from Patterns for Pirates. I'll link it down below. There's a kids version and an adults unisex version. And I've used the kids version previously to make pyjama bottoms for my children, and I like the construction, how it comes together. So I thought the adults pattern would be similar, and I give it a try. It's quite nice because it comes with two different rises, a men's rise which is slightly higher and a women's rise which is slightly lower. And then there are 3 length options. There's a sort of shorts version, just around the knee length version, and then a full pyjama bottom length version. And in terms of sizing, it goes from an extra small, which is for hips of 33 inches, up to a plus 3X, which is for hips of 58 inches. So I had to look at what fabric I got left over after cutting my Etty camisole out, and I thought I had just enough to squeeze on these shorts, and I did manage it. I made a size small based on the hip measurement of 37 to 38 inches. So my hips are 36 inches, but I wanted the shorts to be fairly loose and billowy for summer. And then I decided to use the men's waistline, which is slightly higher rise, because I wanted it to be more of a waistline that sat on my natural waist rather than a lower rise like the women's one, which sits somewhere between your natural waist and the hips, I think. And then I used the shorts version, but I added on, how much did I add on? 1.5 inches to the length. I didn't want the shorts to be really, really short, like a pajama bottom short. I wanted them to be a bit longer so I feel comfortable wearing them out and about for summer. So I had just enough fabric to squeeze it out, and one hack I made of this pattern, because I thought I'd make it a little bit less like pyjama bottoms and a little bit more like pretty shorts, was to add a mini paper bag waist onto the shorts. And I had just enough, well, I basically used every inch of the fabric I had, and I thought I'd just cut the extra waist bit for the paper bag waist as much as I can get out of it and see what paper bag waist I ended up with. And I think it's quite cute how it's turned out. You can see here my little mini paper bag waist, which is quite a cute little feature, I think, at the top of the shorts pattern. So to make my paper bag waist, like I mentioned, I extended the top of the fabric as much as possible on both pieces. Then I turned it under by 1 centimetre, and I turned it under by 2 inches and sewed it along the bottom here, but I left a gap for inserting elastic in. And then I added a further line of stitching here, 2 centimetres from the top, just to create my elastic channel here and my paper bag waist bit on the top. So it came together quite simply. It was my first time giving it a go, and I'm quite pleased how simply it came together. I definitely would do it again. And I think it's turned into quite a cute little pair of shorts. You can see them here. One nice thing about this pattern is that you cut just 2 pattern pieces. There's no seam down the outside, so it's just quite a nice continuity all around the outside, which I think is quite nice for this fabric. I didn't have to worry about pattern matching or anything. But yeah, they're just a quite cute little pair of shorts, and they're really comfy to wear too. I think if I made them again, I might add a larger paper bag waist just to add a little bit more of a feature of it. Obviously I was limited on fabric with these ones, but I'm pleased I managed to squeeze a little one in. And I think that'll look really nice if I pair it with a black top or something. But I'll put a picture up so you can see how my faux play suit looks. It's really comfy to wear, and I think it's quite fun too. I'll put a picture up of both the front and the back so you can see it from the different angles. But yeah, it was really fun to put this one together, and I'm glad I tried to use the pyjama bottoms pattern to make these shorts. I think it's come together really nicely, and I definitely use it again to make a pair of summer shorts that are really comfy and a bit of fun too. So those are the 3 outfits that I made using free sewing patterns as part of the Sew Frugal challenge this year. I've had so much fun joining in with it. I've really enjoyed the challenge as well of using up fabric remnants I've had in my stash. It's really nice to be able to turn them into actual wearable garments, and I'm hoping all 3 of the outfits will get a lot of wear, particularly as it starts to get warmer. I think my daughter will be wearing her dress a lot, and I'm really looking forward to mixing and matching my faux play suit pieces, and yeah, having a lot of fun trying out different combinations of those and wearing them together too. And I think my jersey dress here will work quite well through the seasons. It'll be quite nice as a summer dress with bare legs and some flip-flops or trainers, but I think it'll be quite nice also with a cardigan and tights for more wintry weather too, so I think I'll get a lot of wear out of that one as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed joining with the challenge. I can't wait till tomorrow where I get to see what everyone else has been making. I think there'll be loads of inspiration for sewing with more free patterns going forward. And if you've joined in with the challenge, I hope you've had a lot of fun too. So thank you so much for watching my Sew Frugal reveal video. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit about how I've sort of tweaked some free patterns to make them into garments for my wardrobe and my daughter's too. And if you've enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, thank you very much for checking my channel out. I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing, and also if you press the bell icon, that means you'll get notified when my future videos come out. So thank you very much again for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you again soon. Bye!